I'm really excited about this because in my home state, the great state of Tennessee, we are already there, and it's truly incredible with what we've done with the Tennessee Promise. In our state, we afford all high school graduates with the opportunity to attend a community or technical college free of tuition and mandatory fees through the Tennessee Promise. This is a last dollar scholarship program that allows students to attend any of Tennessee's 13 community colleges or 27 colleges of applied technology. And as my colleagues know, I am a big fan of applied technology education. While the Tennessee Promise is available to all graduating seniors, regardless of socioeconomic standing, counselors across the state work to target at-risk students who might not pursue a secondary education. My first question is for Dr. McCarthy. You mentioned in your written testimony that community colleges are uniquely well positioned to address the economic fallout from the recession. How has COVID impacted the need for specialized skills, and how will prioritizing high demand, high quality credentials help stabilize the workforce, and how can we better incentivize community and technical enrollment?
Thank you very much, Congressman Fleischmann, for the excellent question, and I share your enthusiasm for the Tennessee Promise program. Yes, I believe that the COVID pandemic is having a important impacts on our labor market that will translate into changes in the nature of jobs and changes in the skills that are going to be most in demand. We are going to, I think there's little question that the pandemic has accelerated automation trends in certain sectors. And so there are certain types of jobs that we may not see come back. So we are going to be dealing with how to help workers, for example, toll booth operators and some workers in the retail and hospitality sector are going to need to reskill. I think there's little question that there's going to be a real need for programs that are specifically designed, similar to the Great Recession, for adult learners, people who have been out in the workforce for a while. The Tennessee Reconnect program is a good example of a program that's thinking about not just young people. I'm going to talk a little bit about high school students, but we really do need to think a lot about the displaced workers. The workers who've been hardest hit by this pandemic are workers without a college degree. These sometimes are workers who are very wary of going back to school, or maybe didn't have a great experience in post-secondary education. So we have learned a lot over the last decade about ways to help adults sort of get used to college. Again, that gets back to that whole support services. But the other key is that we have to make sure we need to have a job strategy that goes along with this skills strategy. And that's where, again, these sectoral partnerships and thinking broadly, not just about how community colleges can train people, but how they can be part of a set of partnerships that actually create jobs and make sure that those transitions are good transitions that lead to good jobs. And I will second the notion too, though, that high school students too are gonna, it's critically important that they be aware of the changing nature of skills. And in this case, we never want to be too specialized. I think, there's always that mix between very specific skills, but also making sure that young people have the kind of broad-based and skills that they make them resilient and capable of engaging in lifelong learning. So I think we need a set of, we need different strategies depending on where people are in their working life journey and where they are in their educational journey. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Dr. Bumpus, how can community and technical colleges partner with industries or employers to meet the demands of the local economy, sir?
Thank you very much for that excellent question, Congressman Fleischmann. And I want to also congratulate you and the wonderful folks in Tennessee for that excellent Tennessee Promise program. I've had opportunities to meet with former Governor Haslam and Randy Boyd and others down there, as we've used them as a model from our office about what can be done and done statewide. Now, back to your question, I think what needs to happen more than anything else, and it's something that we feel like routinely is being done, but it's not, and that's the communication between our governmental entities and some of the business leaders in our community to talk about what needs to happen in the workforce side of the house. And in my opinion, those are some things that would enhance the program. I think Mary Alice spoke to that. I think we've got to develop a companion piece of maybe some job action with what's happening in terms of the studies that are happening in Tennessee, and in other places. The academic programs are excellent in regards to how they're being structured, but maybe not enough emphasis being put on the workforce training needs.
Well, thank you, Doctor. And my time has expired. But before I yield back, Madam Chair, I do want to say the impact on the lives of not only high school students, but also older students who are now being given a second chance is truly inspiring. So thank you to each and every one of you all for your great work. And I'll yield back.